Hey guys, Kevin from Southridge Outdoors. Getting back to a previous video that I started a while back on fletching and building my own arrows. So the first video that I did was putting the vinyl wraps on here. That was the first part of it. Today I'm going to actually fletch the arrows and walk you guys through how to do it yourself. Wasn't sure how this would go the first time I did it, so I decided to pick up a pretty inexpensive fletching jig. It's very similar to a Bitzenberger, but it's made out of just a PVC, like a plastic. Functionality wise, it's very similar. This jig was like $30, and it came with a straight clamp and a helical clamp, and it has the ability to do 3 or 4 fletched arrows. I'm gonna attempt a 4 fletch arrow this year, so here's one that I actually just did the other day. So I think they came out pretty good, and I'm just going to walk you guys through step by step on how I do this. So the first step in the process of doing this is making sure that the wraps are good and clean. So I just personally use just like a nail polish remover. Make sure it has an acetone, high acetone in it. You can also use rubbing alcohol or even acetone you can pick up from your hardware store in the paint section. Start with that. I rub them down with a cotton swab. Dries really quick. I actually did this ahead of time, so I don't really have to do that now, but that's the first step. That helps with the glue to adhere to the wrap, and that's it. So then to start with, I want to slide the arrow into the jig, and there is a place in the back here for it to clamp down in. That seats the arrow in the base here, allowing when you turn the knob, it actually snaps into position and rotates the arrow properly. As you can see, there's magnets here. On this jig, there's an adjustment knobs here to adjust the jig in and out to get the fletching to line up with your arrow shaft based on the different spines. So I already have this one preset. Also on the jig, I found that it's a good tip to actually mark where your vein, you want the back of your vein to start. I just took a black Sharpie and marked the line, but if you look close, there are measurement lines on it. It's kind of hard to see. So then you can adjust, depending on the size, length of the vein, you can slide that where you need it to be and just mark it so you know when you take a vein and slide in the jig, or in the clamp, I'm sorry, in the clamp, it sets in, it's seated at the same spot every single time. And that kind of goes into the next part of it is with the clamp, just open the clamp, slide this in, pinch it open a little bit so it can slide, and then you can slide the fletch where you want it. Before you even get to the glue, I recommend just setting the clamp on here and practicing to seat the arrow or the vein to the arrow to make sure that everything is going to line up properly, and you want it seated really well on the arrow shaft. You can kind of look up in the front here and in the back where the vein is cut to sit on the arrow to make sure that it's going to sit nice and square. If it's off by just a little bit, your arrow or the vein is not going to seat well in the arrow. And then that's it. So at that point, I'm ready to start gluing. So I take the clamp off, and I'm just using just a gel super glue. This is Loctite. I also have Gorilla Glue here. So I'm just going to finish up with this. So I'm going to run a bead of glue down the vein. Make sure it's covered really well. Let me check that. There we go. Coat it well. Then to set the vein on the arrow, let the clamp stick fast with the magnets. Slide the back of the clamp down on the base of the jig, and then slide the arrow down, or the vein down on the arrow. And And I usually give this about a 20 to 30 second count. And then just pinch the clamp open and slide it off. And that's that. And then what I like to do too at this point too is just take a little Q-tip and just clean up any remaining glue that's on the side of the Fletch. That one came out pretty clean. And then on to the next vein. And then once I'm finished with that, I'll actually go back and just tip and tail these, put a little dab in the front of the Fletch, and I'll clean some of this up. That just helps adhere the front and the back of the Fletch to the arrow shaft. And this looks a little messy right now, but I'll clean this up with a Q-tip. But basically this helps when the arrow's like passing through or anything like that, where just gives it a little bit extra durability, but yet it doesn't affect the flight path of the arrow at all. And then, easy. Just kind of touch up the ends a little bit to clean it. So guys, for $30 for the jig and some money, a little bit of money for the fletchings, you can easily do this yourself. This is the second or third time that I've ever messed around with the jig, and I've already kind of gone through my dozen leading up to this, so it's pretty easy. So if you like what you're seeing, hit like and subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments you want to leave us, just drop a comment in the comment section below. The next section of the video is going to actually be spin testing these and cutting them to length so I can actually get shooting. Season's not far away, guys. Catch you soon.